MCU, you have outdone yourselves. Black Panther is now officially my favourite MCU movie. Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler, director of the kick-ass movie that was Creed, and is the 18th instalment in the MCU overall. I can't believe the MCU has literally lasted this long. So Black Panther tells the story after all the awesome stuff that went down in Civil War. After the death of his father, Black Panther himself, T'Challa, returns to his native home city of Wakanda, which is secretly hidden in the heart of Africa, as the crown of Wakanda has now officially been passed to him as king. And things ain't getting any easier for him, as he must not only face the greatest responsibilities and do what's best for his subjects as rightful king, but he must also take on his greatest rival for the throne, Killmonger, who believes Wakanda should be run entirely differently. Black Panther was totally my 5th most anticipated movie of 2018, and that's coming from somebody who was underwhelmed by the past 3 MCU movies last year. But with Ryan Coogler in the director's chair, that got me hyped, as well as Black Panther, the greatest character in Civil War, would actually be getting his own solo movie to flesh him out, and I'm pleased to say this movie stands as a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. And spoiler alert, I may have indicated and summed up my overall thoughts on the movie. I'm just going to say it. This movie's amazing. I absolutely loved Black Panther. It has now officially dethroned the Avengers as my personal favourite MCU movie. And this is coming from somebody who wasn't the biggest fan of last year's 3 MCU movies, but Black Panther blows them out of the water. So let's get to my positives, because the positive section for Black Panther is full. I've been waiting for a more mature MCU movie. One of my most common complaints with previous installments is how they just went overboard with the jokes and lacked dramatic moments, whereas Black Panther has completely and utterly fixed that problem. Thankfully, Black Panther keeps the comedy to a minimum. This is finally a more mature MCU movie that puts drama before comedy, which makes it unique and different, and gives us an identity and easily stand out from the others in the crowd. And Wakanda itself is a breathtaking location. My freaking favourite location in the entire franchise. It takes you on a grand tour of this African technological futuristic looking city, and in terms of production design, I'm not too often impressed with production design of the previous MCU installments, but for Black Panther, from its African-like sets to costumes, the Black Panther, for its production design alone, gets an A+. It's a huge relief we have an MCU movie that doesn't take place in New York, but in Africa for a change, and we actually get to experience a entirely new culture, and the characters in Black Panther are the deepest, most well-rounded, well-written, and most awesome in the MCU. Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, he was the biggest badass in Civil War, and this movie he makes a worthy king. He was the biggest badass in Civil War, and here he makes for a worthy leader slash king lead character. he's so naive, more naive than you'd think, and he's having to deal with not just his father's death, but what's best for his people, and he has an enormous weight on. He has an enormous weight on his shoulders, yet he stays strong, and the female characters in this movie are the strongest female characters in the entire MCU, easily. Chitala's sister, she's my personal favourite character in Black Panther. Chitala's sister and wife, they didn't just kick a ton of ass, but they were helpful and supportive to him. They were vital to the story. As well as Andy Serkis as Claw, it was terrific to see him out of the mocap suit for a change and actually in the flesh, and Martin Freeman also, even though their scenes are limited. That may bother some, but that never bothered me, since they weren't meant to be major characters anyway. And Michael B. Jordan as this movie's villain, Killmonger. What makes Killmonger tie with Hela from Thor Ragnarok as my favourite MCU villain, period, is that he isn't a cliched, want to rule the world kind of villain. I totally saw where he was coming from, and his ideology about ruling Wakanda, and I at points almost sided with him. I know that sounds crazy, but this movie made me think, who's actually in the right, T'Challa or Killmonger, since this movie is revolutionary and a landmark in superhero movies in particular, as 98% of the cast are black, except for Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman, of course. But just as Wonder Woman did gender equality flawlessly, Black Panther does race equality flawlessly. And thankfully, this goes to show we are moving forwards. And Ryan Coogler's direction is stunning. He was the perfect director to helm this project. What he did with this movie, he succeeds so freaking epically in making you care about Wakanda, because the story takes itself more seriously. Unlike in Thor Ragnarok, I couldn't care less what happened to Asgard, because that movie was just trying to way too hard to be a slapstick comedy, whereas Black Panther actually knows it's a mature movie. So I cared about Wakanda. I was like, Wakanda forever, and he's top-notch at directing the drama here. I mean, characters are killed off in this movie, and one death scene especially got me tears up a little and shocked, and there are still some great action sequences here, like a car chase to the movie's climactic fight, which is surprisingly darker in colour than the majority of MCU climaxes, but the action isn't the focus here. I was actually more invested, I was fully invested in fact, in Chitala's political scenes rather than the action. And he didn't just make another formulaic MCU movie, he wasn't afraid to make this movie its own thing. Even the soundtrack was original and sensational. It has none of that hip hop rap in it. This is a powerful and moving and mesmerizing score. And as for negatives, I have none. That's how good I think it is. So guys, Black Panther is a freaking epic, kick-ass MCU movie. It puts all the other MCU movies that came before it to shame. And they you can tell that Ryan Coogler put his blood, sweat and tears into this movie. Is it my favourite movie of 2018? I'd say Molly's Game is still my favourite movie of 2018 overall, but Black Panther is a close second. It is the grand return to form the MCU deserves, and it has redeemed the MCU after last year's 3 mediocre installments. And if your girlfriend or boyfriend suggests going to see Black Panther over 50 Shades Fucked, then marry them, because they are the one for you. I give Black Panther 5 stars out of 5. Best movie ever. This and Civil War are This movie and Civil War honour the MCU's 10th anniversary this year. I don't know how Infinity War is going to top Black Panther. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what do you think of Black Panther? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google Plus and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time when I do my Thomas Awards, finally. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.